Hey guys, welcome back to Sip and Dip with Chelsea. Today's video, I was not even gonna try to clickbait. It is what it is. Y'all saw the thumbnail. I love this Azure Beauty dip powder kit. Hands down, blows beetles out of the water. And I'm telling y'all this right off the bat, so you can go down to the description box, add this to your cart before it sells out, before they change the price. It was amazing. So I paid $16.99 for this kit. It comes with 12 different shades. They are in 0.33 ounce jars. This kit comes with a 2-in-1 base and top coat and an activator, which is why I bought it. I really wanted to try out this liquid set. You can see all of the shades here that I got. They come in little teeny tiny jars and I love them. They're so fun for spring, so bright and pretty. They don't have names, they just have numbers, and they do come with a seal on them. So this right here is why I bought this kit. I wanted to try out this liquid to see what the hype is about. I see it's a 2-in-1, which had me nervous. Is it gonna be weird as a base? Is it gonna be not as shiny as a top coat? I wasn't sure, but I am here to tell y'all it was phenomenal. Blew my mind. I hands down, if anything, at least after this video, just give the liquids a try. So I decided to keep it super simple so I could give it a fair review. I grabbed this shade here, so number 44, and I've got my base and top coat. So I start by stirring up the powder with a toothpick and then removing as much of the product on my brush as possible. So I have my hand resting on my desk and I'm gonna do full layers of this. Right off the bat, I could tell I was going to love this liquid set. The brush bristles fanned out nicely. It just glides right on your nail and it's a very thin consistency, which is my own personal preference when I'm looking for dip powder liquids. Once I'm happy with the coverage, I always wipe my brush off on a dry napkin before returning it back to the bottle. Even if you don't see me do it every single time, I promise I am. I just trim it out of the video to save time. So I dip into the powder and immediately blown away by the coverage. You can see just how beautiful that shade is, a great opacity. And then if you have anything left on your skin, you can use a toothpick to just clean up around your cuticle area. So do you see how my nail still looks a little bit wet? That means I need to re-dip back into the powder, and it also tells me that this is a slow drying liquid. Once again, another positive for a beginner. My own personal preference, I prefer slow drying liquids because it gives me more time to clean up, more time for designs. Again, 10 out of 10. If I could give it 20 out of 10, I totally would. So while that one dries, I'm gonna move on to my next shade, which is 126. It's this beautiful light seafoam green. I love the shades, absolutely perfect for spring and for Easter manis. And then while that one dries, I will move on to this blue shade here. So that is 208. This one sort of reminds me of a fun Tiffany blue. So this is just my own personal preference when it comes to picking out kits. I would much rather have a kit that comes with 12 small jars than get a kit that has 6 larger jars. I like more color options. That's just where I'm at with my own collection. And I find that it's actually really hard to go through an entire jar of dip powder. It takes a lot of manicures. So once it's dry, I grab my stiff scrub brush to dust everything off. I want to mention this kit was supposed to come with a dusting brush and a cuticle pusher, but for some reason it wasn't there, and it's not a big deal. If yours does miss any products, please reach out to the company to make sure that they send it to you. But these are actually what I go to anyway, so I grabbed it. It's not a big deal. They remove a lot more excess powder, which means less contamination and thinner layers overall. So the second layer is going to be another full dip coverage. I just love how easily it glides on the nail. It's so beginner friendly. It doesn't feel like it's a lot of work. This manicure took me like 30 minutes total. I know it's a very simple manicure, but the fact that it just felt effortless from the application to the filing. It was a 2-coat coverage. So many positives to rave about with this. And again, I feel like it's worth mentioning that these shades are usually difficult to use. So finding one that was so fluffy and a great coverage deserves all the praise. They also offer lots of other kit colors, so if these colors are just not your jam, I did find this kit, which I'm going to link down below as well. And so while those 2 peach shades dry, I'm gonna start on the green one. This is a major multitasking manicure for me, but I feel like that's how you gotta do it, is when one's drying, just keep on moving and go on to the next color. They also sell these liquids separately, so if you're just in the market to try out new liquids, I hope you'll give this set a try. As far as the odor goes, I don't like to speak on that because I do not suffer from dip flu, so odor is not something that typically bothers me, but if I had to say, I would say it's extremely comparable to most brands, but almost slightly less. But I don't want that to be any sort of notion that this is a low odor, because it's not. It does still have a scent, but I didn't find it to be super harsh. I feel like getting this kit for any price under $30 is such an affordable steal because these are full-size liquid bottles and they're very heavy duty, durable, nice quality. You get 12 colors, you get a little nail file, dusting brush, cuticle pusher, so many goodies that come with this kit at such a great affordable price. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I purchased this kit myself and honestly, I thought it was gonna be a flop. I thought I was gonna hate the liquids. I thought it was gonna be some sort of compromise. Having it be a 2-in-1 had me very nervous that it was going to be lacking in one area or another on the manicure, and it was not at all. So I do love the color of this, so I don't wanna do a third dip. You guys know I advocate for doing clear dip powder on top. So this kit does not contain clear dip powder. This is my own clear, but if you wanted, you could absolutely do a third dip of color on top. I personally don't suggest doing that because what can happen is you could buff through or cloud the color when you go to file and shape. So I am going to do clear dip powder on top so I can protect this beautiful shade. Any clear dip powder will do, any brand. It doesn't have to be Sparkle & Co., which is the one I'm using. You could use any one that you find. I just want to mention that this is my own personal preference when I do dip powder, so I wanted to stay true so I could give it a fair review. So I personally love to do 2 dips of color and 1 dip of clear. I feel like at this point, I kind of look for those dip powders that have a full 2-coat coverage. That's one of the things I prefer, and you can see here, this brand knocked it out of the park with that. I love that they are fully opaque after just 2 dips, which means I can follow my same routine and do a dip of clear on top. I don't have to do that third dip to get it fully opaque, which is really important to me. So I don't like to pin companies against one another, so that's not what this next statement is going to be, but I feel like if someone were to ask me my favorite Amazon dip kit or what affordable kit I would suggest for a beginner, if somebody asked me that, hands down, I would pick this. I know a couple weeks ago I reviewed that Beatles kit and I fell in love with it, but you never know what you're missing out on until you try something else, and I'm telling y'all, this kit was it for me. I love the slow dry time. I love the thin liquid consistency. The colors are just so fun. Everything was so easy to use, and it absolutely blows Beatles out of the water. So once all of the clear is dry, I'm going to dust off all of that excess powder and move on to Activator. So with my activator, this is step 3, I'm gonna apply a very generous layer of this to all of the nails. So because I was not familiar with this whole 2-in-1 concept, I wasn't sure exactly how much activator it was gonna need to penetrate through all of that product and harden the dip powder. So you'll see here, once I get to my pinky, I've done a full layer on all of them. I go back and do a second layer. You don't have to do that. This is just my own personal preference to make sure when I go to file and shape that I don't hit any gummy areas where it hasn't fully hardened. You don't have to do this, just my own personal preference as a precautionary step. So the instructions state that it only takes 1 minute to air dry and harden, and I will say it was spot on. It hardened almost immediately after the activator hit the nail. So here is the little file that comes with the kit. You can absolutely use this file. It looks like it is a 100/180 grit, but as you can see, it's already making a mess on my desk. I find that these black nail files shed really bad with that coarse grit, so it's my own personal preference to use these Manicure nail files. They're really great quality. They come in a pack on Amazon. You don't have to do this. My own personal preference on what I like. So that is the nail file I'm going to use. The kit also does not include a buffing block, so I do highly suggest picking up a pack of buffing blocks as well. So I start with the 180 grit side and I go around the free edge of my nail and then I run it across the entire top surface. So I want to cover this real quick while I'm filing so y'all can just watch about longevity. So I use peel base on my nails, so on my natural nails underneath the dip powder so that I can pop the dip powder off within 1 to 3 days so I can keep up with my filming schedule. So I know a lot of you guys watch these review videos and you want to know how long the product lasts. I know every single brand dip powder and liquid is all going to have their own type of quality, but I find, again, this is my own unsolicited opinion, after 3 years of dipping and trying out many different types, good and bad, that it all comes down to how you're doing your application and your prep. So as long as you find a prep routine that works best for you, your lifestyle, your nail chemistry, and of course, keeping this product off of your skin and making sure you have enough strength. So whether that be you only need 3 dips of powder, or maybe you even need 4, that's what it comes down to when we're talking about longevity. It's definitely a case-by-case basis if we're talking about top coat cracking or lifting issues. It's all going to come down to experimenting to find what works best for you and what your nails are going to need. So once you experiment with your prep routine and you figure out exactly how many layers of dip powder you need, or you find that perfect top coat that you're on the hunt for, you will see that longevity just goes along right alongside with that. So I went ahead and filed and buffed off camera for the rest of my nails, so we are all done. I'm going to dust off all of that excess powder. So this is where the instructions kind of took me for a turn. So normally with dip powder, you have to do another layer of activator after you file and shape, but with this one, it doesn't include this step. I didn't know if it was because it's a 2-in-1 or what the deal was. I practiced on a swatch stick first to see, and I felt like when I skipped this activator step, it kind of made my top coat like bubbly looking. So I am not telling y'all to do this. This is just something I chose to do. I am applying the second layer of activator after filing and shaping because I felt like it just made the top coat go on cleaner. I'm not telling you to do that. It's just what I'm gonna do. I'm letting this dry for 2 minutes. Then I'm using a dry napkin to rub the entire top surface of my nail to make sure I do not have any more activator residue that might contaminate my top coat. If you decide to skip that second activator step, please make sure you at least cleanse your nails with rubbing alcohol before going in with top coat. So this first layer of top coat, I do 3 quick swipes on the nail, and that is it. I also make sure, again, I am wiping my brush off before returning it back to the bottle. So when I was doing this as my base liquid, I removed as much product off of the brush as possible. But when I'm doing this with top coat, I leave a little bit more on there because I want it to have a thicker, high shine look. So the top coat air dried in 60 seconds. So pretty much immediately after I went in for that second coat, y'all can see just how clean and high shine it is. So this second coat is more precise, a little bit more evenly covering the nail, making sure I am capping off my free edge, and of course wiping the brush off before returning it back to the bottle. So here's what amazed me about this liquid is that it's a thin consistency and it was a slow dry time as a base. But when I used it as a top coat, as long as you use a decent amount on your brush, it dried like instantly. So I don't know how that works. I don't know if it's something to do with contact with the air, contact with the dip powder, but I was amazed and impressed. Highly recommend this liquid. So just like the instructions said, it dried within 60 seconds and I was able to apply cuticle oil. So this kit does not come with cuticle oil. Make sure you apply it back on your skin to rehydrate. So once I'm done with every manicure, I always remove as much product off of the brush as possible, grab a dry napkin again, and wipe off that rim of the neck of the bottle. That's just in case, so when you go to seal it, it doesn't get sealed shut because any leftover product up there will glue the bottle shut. So here's the finished manicure, and it's definitely giving me those smoothie Skittle vibes. I don't know if they planned this, but it also matches the branding box. I thought that was so cute. And I am obsessed. I'm sure by now you can tell if I could give this kit a 20 out of 10, I would. I love that I only have 2 bottles on my desk, 1 less product that I could possibly knock over, and they're a very heavy duty, durable bottle. I feel like it is my duty to let y'all know how amazing this kit was. Y'all are some of my closest friends now, so it is my job to let you know this is a must-have. If you have to blame me to your spouse when they see that credit card from Amazon hit again, you can blame me. I'm okay with that. I just am so smitten with these colors. It really makes me excited for spring and Easter manis. But thank y'all so much for coming and hanging out with me. I will see you in the next video.